Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and on today's video on Broncos Breakdown, I got two stories. The first one, could the Denver Broncos go out and sign Jordan Matthews? And is Jerry Jeudy going to be a disappointment this upcoming season? Before I get into this bad boy, let me know which out of those two stories interests you more. If it's Matthews, type 1. If it's Jeudy, type 2. Are the Denver Broncos going to go out and sign free agent, listen to me, tight end, Jordan Matthews this offseason? Yes, I said tight end. So out there, Fansided, they wrote in the article that Denver should at least give Matthews a tryout. For anybody that's watching the show right now, scratching their you-know-what, being like, wait a minute, isn't Jordan Matthews a wide receiver? Well, he was. At least that's how he first came out of college. That's how he got his first start in the NFL. But now, according to reports, he has added 30 pounds and has been working out trying to become an NFL tight end. The issue with this with Matthews is he's played in only 5 games over the past 2 seasons. He's gone back and forth with a few different NFL franchises. Sure, he might be only 28 years old, and when you actually look at him, if he did add 30 pounds, 6'3", 215, I guess technically now he's 245 pounds. 215 was at least his poundage last season, but he didn't even get any stats last year, played in 2 games. The reason why this is at least a little bit interesting, and it's also kind of confusing, I actually think that Denver's in a pretty good situation, at least from a pass-catching standpoint. But over the last 5 years, Matthews, okay, 2020, 2 games, no stats. 2019, y'all can read. 2018, 2017, it's really been almost 5 years since I have seen the Jordan Matthews that when I hear that name, I'm like, okay, I go back to his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, 73 grabs, 804 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I'm a big believer that the only reason why Matthews was brought up in terms of connection with Denver is because of Pat Shurmur. So for those of you that don't know Shurmur, he was with the Eagles as their offensive coordinator from 2013 to 2015. The Philadelphia Eagles, they drafted Jordan Matthews in 2014. Realistically, his 2 best years as a pro came when he was a rookie in 2014 and then in 2015. So could there be a reunion in Denver? Well, here's an interesting quote from Pat Shurmur on Matthews all the way back in 2014. Yeah, we're going way back. He can play anywhere. He's got size. He's good against bump and run coverage. His spatial awareness is good. There are different combinations of things that can happen when you're inside and opposed to outside. He kind of has a good feel for that. You have to be able to sit in camp, and he's been able to get open and make plays. Back in 2014 as a rookie, Jordan Matthews had 103 targets, 67 grabs, 872 yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, 8 tutties as a rookie. That's impressive. How did he improve upon that in his sophomore season? 126 targets, 85 grabs, 997 yards, 8 touchdowns. I remember after the 2015 season, Jordan Matthews was probably the most popular pick amongst fantasy football to have a breakout year in his 3rd year, because usually that 3rd year for wide receivers is the breakout year. However, it just simply never happened. He got injured. He got slower. He lost a step. So potentially him going as a tight end might make sense. I just don't know if it makes sense for Denver. So how about you all answer this question for me? Give me a Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. Should Denver bring in Jordan Matthews for a workout? Y for yes, or type N for no. The reason why I'm going to type my N for no is simple. You're wasting everyone's time. And in the NFL, and in life in general, there is nothing more important than time. And the reason why I say you're wasting is you're obviously wasting Matthews' time, but you're also wasting Denver's time because I just don't see how he ends up making this team. Noah Fant is your tight end 1. No doubt about it, right? Is he good enough, though, to actually make this roster and then to actually make an impact? Maybe he can get on the roster as a tight end 3, but even that, I believe, is a little bit of a stretch. You rock and roll with what you have on this team, because I just don't see how you go out and add Jordan Matthews and legitimately think that it's going to make a difference. The San Francisco 49ers last year, they lost George Kittle. They were in tight end hell for a little while, and they still decided not to use him even when he was healthy. So for that reason, I'm going to say no, you don't bring in Jordan Matthews. If you're a diehard Broncos fan, what I want you to do is take a second, look underneath the video, and you see that big red button that says subscribe. I want you to click it. Now, I don't usually make the videos around here, and the guy who normally does, he's actually behind the screen right now working his tail off to make sure that you guys get all the videos you possibly can around your favorite team. So if you could, don't do it for me, do it for Sam. Hit that big red button that says subscribe and get some free videos around the Denver Broncos all off season. Will Jerry Jeudy be a disappointment this upcoming season, his sophomore year? Bleacher Report released an article, one player from each team that could disappoint next season. Jeudy was selected for Denver. Remember, y'all, he was the 15th overall pick in 2020, and I think some people would make the argument that he's coming off a good rookie season. There's some other people out there that are like, well, if you're the second wide receiver drafted, if you're drafted 15th overall, you should have actually had a better year. Did he have opportunities to? Yeah, absolutely. But 52 grabs, 856 yards, 3 touchdowns as a rookie, that ain't too half bad. Now, you're going to have the people that look at everything half glass empty, and they're like, well, he had 10 drops, which he absolutely did. Did he have a dropping problem? Sure. But he is only 22 years old. He is an elite route runner, and he has good hands. It's going to come together for Jerry Jeudy. Now, I want you guys to go ahead and download the Newsbreak app. And how do you do that? Get out your iPhone, get out your Android right now, and go to chatsports.com/BroncosNB. As soon as you do that, it's going to take you to the App Store. You click download, and yes, you download the free Newsbreak app. Then what I want you to do is follow Broncos Breakdown. The reason why you should do this, because I don't care if you live in Denver, I don't care if you live in Dallas, I don't care what your zip code is, this app is going to be very useful for you. Stay up to date on what's going on in your city in terms of local news. If you want to find the best restaurants to eat, you can stay up to date with food. More sports content and exclusive videos from us here. So I'm going to put this link in the comments, and I'm going to put it down in the description. chatsports.com/BroncosNB. Let's now get into this quote here around Jerry Jeudy from Bleacher Report. Jeudy was credited with 10 drops as a rookie, and Broncos quarterbacks had a collective passer rating of only 58.7 when targeting him. Without a significant upgrade at QB, Jeudy may not take the next step as a pro. So, in terms of that quote alone, I understand the drops, and I'm going to be frank with y'all, I'm not worried about Jeudy's drop problems. In fact, I actually make the argument a lot of times that I think drops are a very overblown statistic because you see it on screen and people react to it. You still have to be able to get open to have a drop most of the time. So, he's going to be able to get it together. He was a rookie. He's going to be fine. And for you all to say, it's on him to be a disappointment because of his quarterback play, that's more of a fantasy football standpoint to me, which I don't really think is the way Bleacher Report should go about doing a lot of their articles. Because, let's face it, no disrespect to Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, yeah, they're not the best quarterbacks out there. But that's also not Jerry Jeudy's fault. Now, is he going to have a better year than what he did last season statistically? That still remains to be seen because I do believe his production, it might suffer. But that isn't because Jeudy isn't a hell of a receiver. It's because Cortland Sutton's going to be healthy. As I missed my hand, y'all see that? As Cortland Sutton is going to be healthy again. You also have Noah Fant. It takes tight ends a little bit of while to get going. Tim Patrick has been a very good and underappreciated receiver in the league. KJ Hamler, somebody you drafted in round 2, 45 overall in 2020. I mean, you got rid of Deshaun Hamilton, your 5th best receiver. There's a lot of people out there that would really like Deshaun Hamilton, in my personal opinion. So when you look at Noah Fant, though, taking away some production, it's going to happen. 62 grabs last year, 673 yards. I'd make the argument one of the better pass-catching tight ends in the league. Another person that's going to take away some production, Melvin Gordon. He's going to get the ball between the tackles. He's also been able to show throughout his entire career that he can catch the football. And then another guy that's going to take away some production, Javonte Williams. The only point I am trying to make here is this. He might be a disappointment in terms of overall stats, but in terms of him being a disappointment helping his football team, that I definitely agree with because far too often we look at players like, oh, he didn't put up as much stats, he's a disappointment. Sometimes we need to look at how well he's been able to help this football team out actually win football games. So what I want you guys to do is this. Project his 2021 stats. And this might be a little bit of a different look, which is okay, so bear with me here. You see the question marks? Usually there's stats in those. What I want you to do is help me out project Jerry Jeudy's stats in his second year. Let me know down in the comments section how many receptions. Let me know how many yards. Let me know what you think his average is going to be. Touchdowns. Let me know down in the comments Jerry Jeudy stat totals for this upcoming season.